need to score goals to win a Champions League, Ben. You need to keep clean sheets.
And we know that because that's already happened.
So you know, we're a dangerous team because actually, defensively, we were really good today. Really, really good. Kept Liverpool to a minimum. We know things are going to be different next Wednesday night. Of course they will be. But I have to say, really encouraged.
Well, other scorelines tonight. Leeds have beaten Forest from behind. That's a huge game at the bottom. Brighton have won away at Bournemouth, South Coast derby. I think Brighton are in Europe at this rate, and you do begin to wonder if... I mean, honestly, Potter started something and De Zerbi's taken it another step further.
They've got their eyes on Champions League, then they probably won't get there, but by the way, they're not a million miles from it at all.
I mean, you do feel, weirdly, if any... sentences you never thought would come out of your mouth. If anyone's going to catch Man U and Newcastle for top four, it ain't going to be Liverpool and Chelsea, but it might be Brighton and Hove Albion. That's not something you ever felt you'd say.
No, and you know they're easy on the eye. They've got a number. Their scouting and their recruitment network is second to none. But Ben, I'm pleased. You know, look.
Let's bring it back to Brighton and Bruno here tonight. He will be he will be pleased. We presume he'll probably take the team at Wolves this weekend.
Yes, you would have thought, unless there's, you know, and look, there's all sorts of rumours and speculation and about, you know, there's, you know, the names that I mentioned. The Nagelsmann's name has been mentioned. Poch's name has been, even and Kante's name has been
Luis Enrique. Brendan Rodgers. There are quite a few famous bosses out of work at the moment.
There's 4 or 5. Even Carlo Ancelotti's name I read today as well. But whatever will be, will be. What the lads have got to do and what Bruno's got to do and everyone else connected with the club, by the scenes, is just prepare for Wolves, prepare for next Wednesday against Real Madrid.
Yes, 2 away days in a row, then 2 home games in a row, funnily enough. It is Brighton coming here after that. There seems to be a lot of Brighton going on, and then Real Madrid. In terms of that, how much do you want to see the Wolves team, the team picked to play Wolves, reflect Real Madrid?
I think that one of the reasons that we have seen Cucurella play so consistently in that position in the last 2 or 3 weeks is because of the fact that Badiashile is not in the squad. Clearly Chalobah isn't fancied and Thiago Silva is injured. I think that it probably picks itself if everyone is fit. I think Thiago Silva, it'll be Fofana and it'll be Koulibaly. But that
does seem to be the suggestion, that Thiago Silva should make it for that, and that therefore, why risk him in this game tonight, that kind of thing. So there may well be a bit of that.
I think what we saw tonight actually was, I was impressed with Cucurella. You know, he gets too tight and he goes in, and then he goes again and he goes again, and before you know it, there's a gap, a chasm behind him, where you then have to get your wing back travelling back in, and Koulibaly's got to come across. You don't want that. I thought he got distance as well. Attacking wise, he's a very good technically gifted footballer. I think his link-up play with everyone. Like I said, I think everyone 7, 8 and 9s out of 10 today. Really, really impressive.
Yeah, if it was one on points, Chelsea would have won this, I think, pretty comfortably on all judges' cards. But sadly, it's one on goals, and that hasn't happened all too often this season. It is the 14th time out of 39 matches this term that Chelsea have failed to score, unfortunately. But kept Liverpool out, and they never looked like scoring at all. So these 2 big boys stay on their slightly disappointing runs in mid-table, while other less fancied names do rather better. That is it from me and him for a little bit. We'll be back with you for the Wolves game if you're listening on the app this weekend, and for Real Madrid as well. Have a good trip if you're going to those. But for now, don't leave, because we're going to go back pitch side with the boys.
Cheers, boys. Thank you very much. The brilliant Ben Andrews and Jason Cundy talk you through proceedings this evening as Chelsea and Liverpool draw 0-0 here at Stamford Bridge in the company of Dan and Zach, boys. We said it would be a game of close quarters prior to kick-off. This one notoriously ends 0-0. It has done fairly recently, quite a lot. And as it was 2 months ago in Anfield, it is goalless tonight.
And again, like it was at the Carabao Cup final, we kind of sit there and go, we should probably scored.
And the FA Cup final.
Yeah, the FA Cup final. Like we had the chance to score today. We had the opportunity to score today. Even before the first half, there were a couple where it felt like, how has it not ended up in the back of the net? An incredible block from one of the Liverpool defenders on Kovacic once he goes past the goalkeeper. It was, I'm not sitting here like, I'm disappointed because we didn't win. However, like, I really thought the performance was strong. Defensively, I thought we were really good. We mentioned before how much we like the midfield. showcase today, seeing N'Golo Kante back, wow. And an N'Golo Kante that looked fit as well. And N'Golo Kante that looked ready and back. And I mean, he's going to be huge for these next games. But look, we've got to get that ball in the back of the net. Somehow, some way, we've got to get it in the back of the net.
It's big, isn't it, Dan? Because that is obviously going to be the thing, the difference between being successful this season and not being successful. But those sort of 0-0 games, you need to try and find a way to make 1-0 games.
Yeah. I think we've let Liverpool off the hook here. They haven't had a sniff. I can't really think of a chance they had.
You'd say from Kerr from about 30 yards out.
I mean, they've barely had a sniff, honestly. We have had chance after chance, and we got into threatening areas very, very often. Couldn't quite convert. A decent performance, definitely not loads to moan about, but goals win games, goals affect games, just massively. And although it was a good performance and a very strong defensive performance, like that Zach said, we've got to score. It's been a theme of our season so far. Us not hitting the back of the net perhaps enough, or hitting it once and then, somebody scoring a lucky goal and we're dropping 2 points. Yeah. We need goals. That's the one thing we need to our game.
I think because as well, because we have the extra man in midfield, it obviously means you're taking the man in that front line. And so at times maybe it did feel like when it was either just Kai up there or it was just Felix up there, and so it felt a bit, there wasn't the extra guy at the back post to possibly put it away. But in general, I think I maybe sound a little bit more negative than I actually am. I am generally impressed with that performance. Yeah. All things considered, especially over how the last week has been, from the Aston Villa result, obviously everything that's happened. That's a really good way to come back out. I think Bruno will be over the moon with how that happened. He'll be disappointed, obviously, to not put a ball in the back of the net. But overall,
we had a goal ruled out for offside, a very dubious offside. I'm not sure how much I love these.
Handball too.
I think you're bang on. I think on a different night it could be very different. Thankfully, tonight was the proper, fully sort of the full return of N'Golo Kante to Chelsea starting lineup. What a difference he makes. A good 70 minutes in the bank as well, Dan, because that's important, isn't it? Quite a lot of tweets coming in naturally about how much Chelsea have missed N'Golo Kante, how much he does for the team, how big it is just to see his presence for the players around him, because we mentioned at times you play with 12 men when you got N'Golo Kante because he does the role of 2 people, but how important is that to build up, those 70 minutes today, clearly pre-planned. He came off a bang on 70 minutes pretty much.
And considering he was fasting as well, honestly, he's such an asset to the team. I don't think anybody can quite do what he does. The ground he covers, he's quite aggressive with his running, even as an attacking player as well. Underrated passing, we rate him so highly, but I think he's still maybe an underrated player. He is phenomenal, and today I think he helped us to really put Liverpool under the thumb. We kind of in that midfield dominated.
Just on that, Zach, because I've just been told that in that first half, N'Golo and Enzo recovered the ball 6 times each.
Not surprised. They were electric.
Which again shows you that partnership, which they won't have played a huge amount other than on a training field together. Yeah. So what a partnership that's forming.
They were electric. I think what's so nice I've seen from that, as you mentioned, is played 70 minutes of the game, really got his recovery, looked fit the entire time as well. You mentioned he's fasting. That's incredible. But just looked like a guy that wasn't playing with the worry of maybe possibly an injury or didn't feel fully fit. We saw a fit Kante, and when you have a fit Kante, you mentioned it's like having 2 players. I mean, I'd love to ask Enzo, what was it like playing next to him? It must really, but he'll never play. I don't know whether we'll ever see a player like N'Golo Kante again. He's a guy who, when he originally came here, he was this DM. He was all about tackling and interceptions, and he still is. But then we've seen him develop into this guy that likes running forward the ball, a brilliant passer. Every now and again we'll have a shot that finds its way into the back of the net. But that duo, and even that trio as a midfield, I really thought was enjoyable. It complements each other all really well. You do have the double-sidedness to N'Golo's game, who will make tackle on the edge of the box, but then carry the ball forward. And then you have, because obviously out of that 3, it was Enzo that was sitting deeper, more the playmaker, but also has license to go forward if he wants to.
Cover could have had 2. Yeah. Cover could have had 2 today, so I like the idea of...
Even Gallagher came on as well. I thought that was good.
I like packing the midfield. I really do. I think it gives you control, and as long as your midfielders run from deep, they find themselves in the most attacking positions anyways. It's almost as if you are playing with a front 3. I thought tactically we got it pretty spot on today. The only criticism is we didn't score.
Is that maybe an insight to how we'll see the team set up next week against Real Madrid away at the Bernabeu? Because I think Ben and Jason touched on it at the end there, but N'Golo's played 70 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
How much involvement do we think we'll see from him at the weekend? Is that more of a nod to this might be the team that start next Wednesday rather than the team that starts Saturday?
I mean, right now, look, I think in terms of what is the huge priority, Champions League, is it? If you were to go to me, N'Golo can only play one game, what do I pick? I'm picking the Champions League. I think maybe giving him 45 minutes. I think it's all about the testing now. Go back, see how he's feeling. How do you feel fitness-wise, muscle-wise? If he feels like, if we think then, okay, he can play on the weekend, 100% you play him. But it's all about that. I think it's harsh to comment before we actually know that side of things, and I'm sure that's what they'll be doing as well. But look, if we've got that, if we have that set up against Real Madrid, I do feel much more confident.
Real Madrid have a seasoned team, but you can run them into the ground. You can outdog them, old man them. So you want a midfield that has enough legs in it to be able to get on top of Modric, get on top of Cruz.
Camavinga, Tchouameni, whoever it might be.
Yeah, it could be any of them, and it could be any of us, to be fair.
Let's talk about the back three as well, because obviously at the weekend, Koulibaly and Cucurella were perhaps a bit of miscommunication or whatever it was for the opening goal. But I thought tonight, again, they kind of doctored that a little bit, and you see that continuity that we talk about, especially in a back three. You need to have that run of consistency between each other. And I thought, again, tonight, a clean sheet against a very dogged, good Liverpool side, that's a confidence booster for them.
Yeah, clean sheet, and clean sheets can sometimes paper over cracks, but I think that was a decent performance considering.
Wes was really good as well.
They didn't we didn't concede chances, let alone goals. So very impressed, especially after kind of the criticism that everyone would have received for that goal last week.
And playing at the back as well, you saw that element really, really strongly today, of not necessarily just booting the ball every single time or whatever it might be to have, and that helps when you've got that extra midfielder, you've got that extra person to pass to, of course. But like Wes more than happy to take the ball and go forward with it, and the same with say Cucurella as well, and then allowed you to in the last couple of minutes of the game to go to a foot at the back and bring on someone like Mudryk and really go for it. So yeah, defensively we were really strong. I thought, as you mentioned, those two. I don't think it's easy to come from, because everyone's going to be looking at you, waiting for that moment of, are they going to make the mistake or whatever? Are they going to have it? Is it going to happen again? And they didn't, and they dealt with everything really, really well. I think Koulibaly made a couple of really, really good blocks too. Cucurella with some great recovery tackles as well. Overall, really, really good.
Also has to be said as well, when you're playing a front three like Liverpool where they're so fluid, Firmino drops in. At times, Firmino's picking the ball off the centre half. You've got Nunez is playing as a 9, then you've got Jota that's coming in. Mo Salah comes on. When you're playing against a front three like that, it's not a specific man-for-man marking job. You've got to be adaptable during the game. And it's got to be said, it's going to be very similar to what Real Madrid do. They'll have Benzema, but then they'll have Rodrigo, they'll have Vinicius that will come in and out. So perhaps it's a little bit of a nod to that as well, to be aware.
Yeah, maybe. I think Liverpool are a bit more sneaky. Real Madrid are a bit more honest. Benzema is he's gonna drop deep, but Vinicius, you know where you're gonna find him. He's gonna hug the touchline. He wants a one-on-one foot race, and he wants a one-on-one game with you. Whereas this front three were very fluid, and I felt like Wesley Fofana did a really good job on Nunez, and just knowing when to come in and help out Koulibaly. I thought the back three actually worked pretty well today.
Prior to the international break as well, Wesley hadn't long been back in the team from a long, serious layoff. So again, another good, solid 90 minutes in the tank for Wesley Fofana is a big bonus for Bruno and Chelsea this evening. Right, we had a little question before the game, didn't we? A trivia question, which none of us have thought of for the 90 minutes while the game's on.
The game was so end-to-end, it was like we had to keep an eye.
So let's have a little look at the question again then. How many Chelsea hat-tricks have been scored in this fixture since 1907? Dan, straight out of blocks, you said 10, didn't you?
I like the number. I like the number. It's
back in the day, I felt like back in the day a lot more goals were scored as well. More opportunities for it. However, there were times where Chelsea were out of the top division too, and they wanted to face each other.
Good question.
I think, look, if we go 10, it covers 13 and also 7. Maths for you guys at home. Welcome.
We're allowed 3 either side. Yeah, you're right.
I don't mind 10. I don't mind 10. If it's 10, fair play to Dan. If it's 10, Dan. If it's not 10, Dan.
Yeah, fair point actually.
It could be 30, but.
I'm going to go 10. I'm happy to go 10.
30 means that we've seen one hat-trick every 20 odd years, and I think that's quite a lot actually.
10.
Okay, 10. Let's have a look at 10 then. Let's have a look at the answer. The answer is 5. The last was George Mills in August 1937. Okay.
Well,
so even Hazard got one.
We've even our 3 in and out. We are miles off, really. considering, but that's fine. Okay, then. So now obviously the focus has to switch towards the weekend.
Yeah.
Wolverhampton Wanderers are, I suppose, like a lot of the Premier League. Yeah, they're a tough side. They're a bit unpredictable, aren't they? On their day, they're very good. Other days, they're not so good. Julian Lopetegui's their manager. Again, he's a manager that's coached all around the world.
Yeah.
Highly thought of in Spain as well. A very, very good coach and done some good work since he's come in, Zach.
Well,
it's going to be a test.
I know this sounds like a bit cliche and kind of what everyone says, but I do think it's honest. Like, every game in the Premier League is not easy. Like, it is so tough. And his Lopetegui's Wolves side's like, he's a defensively strong manager. What do we know about Wolves for the part since they've been in the Premier League? They like to be defensively strong. So it's going to be a tough game. If we sat here and we think we found it hard to put the ball in the back of the net after all those chances, and we might have probably less chances against a side that probably sit back. But that being said, I think we take a lot of positives from this game today. If we can apply them to Wolves, then I'd like to think we'll give ourselves the best chances.
Dan, let me ask you, the weekend, it's obviously half an eye is going to be on Real Madrid. You know, we'd assume there's going to be a number of changes into it. So the question would be, what's more important to make sure that we've got 18, 19, 20 match fit players going into Tuesday, Wednesday next week in Madrid, or a confidence building performance and result?
I would go with the players that we need fit. And the 3 points. It's not an easy. It's actually, I'm still thinking.
That's going on the showreel, mate. What's a question at the end of a 0-0?
No. Champions League, for now, for us, I think we all agree has become a top priority. We need the players that we need fit to be fit. We want to be able to come through. Players who need minutes, get minutes. If we can grab the 3 points as well, that would be great. I think we will. We beat Wolves handily earlier in the season here. I just don't think they offer as much. Today we were unlucky. It was nothing to do with performance. We were unlucky not to hit the back of the net. We hit the back of the net twice and we didn't get the goals. So yeah, I think we've got to keep everyone fit over this weekend.
And again, let's be honest, Chelsea have got 30 fantastic fit professionals. Like, we've got a squad good enough to make
Easily.
6 or 7 changes and still go to Molineux and get something. So yeah, we look forward to that one at the weekend. Here's what else is coming up this week on the Fifth Stand app and across Chelsea's social media channels. Make sure you keep an eye on things. Of course, Bruno will be speaking to the press on Friday ahead of Saturday's clash at Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. Matchday Live will be with you at 2 o'clock, and then of course all eyes to next week, Real Madrid in the Champions League. Boys, 0-0 here at Stamford Bridge. A good performance, a fairly good evening in general. You know, it's a tough tie, it always is. It's a big game, Chelsea-Liverpool. One word to sum up tonight, Zach.
Interesting.
Interested, okay. Dan?
Promising.
Promising, okay. Boys, good work. You're always interested in promising, don't worry about it, both of you are superb. Yeah, unfortunately it finished 0-0 here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea and Liverpool, there's always very little between the two, and so it proved. Thank you very much for joining us on Matchday Live. Enjoy the rest of your evening.